Hello and welcome to the Tottenham America channel. Today we will be previewing Tottenham Hotspur's last game before the 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar as they take on Leeds United at home in the Premier League. This match will be shown in the US on NBC's streaming service Peacock. It will be on Saturday, November 12, 2022 at 10 a.m. Eastern. That is 7 a.m. for our West Coast fans. It is the 16th round of the Premier League and the final round before the World Cup break commences, which will start from the 20th of November and continue to the 19th of December. It is a home game for Tottenham, so it will be held at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in London, and the referee for this match is Michael Salisbury. Let's continue on to team form for Tottenham after a plethora of decent results. They are two losses in their last two. First against Liverpool and then most recently against Nottingham Forest in the EFL Carabao Cup. Jesse Lingard and Renan Lodi scored within 7 minutes of each other to give Nottingham Forest both goals against Tottenham, who really had a very poor performance. No defensive cohesion at all. Our attackers were just not in the game at all. And probably Fraser Forster was the only bright spot in that game. Tottenham Hotspur sit 4th in the Premier League with 14 games played, 8 wins, 2 draws, 4 losses on 26 points. As for Leeds United, they have a loss in their last game to Wolverhampton Wanderers. Adama Traore scoring the only goal of the game. Prior to that, it was a 4-3 exhilarating win against Bournemouth and a 2-1 win against Liverpool away from home at Anfield. So 2 big wins before their most recent loss for Leeds United. They currently sit in 12th place, 13 games played, 4 wins, 3 draws, 6 losses on 15 points. Let's continue now to team news.
For team news, Spurs have 2 injuries. Son is out with an eye injury, but he won't make it back just in time for the World Cup. And Christian Romero has a thigh injury, but he's just going to be saved for the World Cup because he was named for Argentina in the World Cup squad, and he's going to play in the World Cup, so we're just saving him. So he's not actually injured. But Leeds do have a pretty good injury list. It's pretty long. They have Forshaw, Gelhardt, Sinistera, Bamford, and Dallas all out. Some important players there. Sinistera has done well for them this season. Just came in on the summer transfer window. Leeds United recently been doing well. Of course, they beat Liverpool, and they also had an amazing comeback against Bournemouth. They've been using their young players, new players, really well, like Somerville, Ognato, or how would you say your name? I'm not sure.
Aronson,
Tyler too.
Adams.
Yeah, a lot of good players, new players, and young players for Leeds United. So Spurs have to be wary of that. Now moving on to projected lineup. For Spurs, no one else in goal but Hugo Lloris. Our back three will be Dyer, Longley, and Davies, since Romero is being saved for the World Cup. Our 2 in midfield, Højbjerg and Bissouma. What we think is that Højbjerg and Bentancur will be saved for the World Cup. So Højbjerg will most likely, or at least one of them will play the first 45, and then they'll flip-flop. One of them will come on for the other, whoever starts and whoever's on the bench between Højbjerg and Bentancur, and then they will get swapped. So they have, they're good to play in the World Cup, and we don't want to risk injury or fatigue or anything since they aren't going to be playing in the World Cup. And Bissouma will probably play the whole match. And then 2 wing-backs, Emerson Royale and Perisic. Left wing-back, we have no other choice because Sessegnon looked like he picked up an injury against Nottingham Forest. So Perisic is our only option on the left, and Emerson will start on the right. I don't see Doherty starting in this at all. And then Kulusevski, Kane, and Richarlison up front, our front 3. Of course, we've clearly seen that a front 3 works 10 times better than a front 2. Kane will probably get subbed off sometime. Maybe Lucas Moura will come on for him, and then Richarlison might go striker, possibly. Or Brian Hill could come on. We don't know. But Kane's probably going to get subbed off and rested.
Yeah. But that's really only if we have a substantial lead. Otherwise, there's no chance that we're bringing either of them off because we kind of need a win here. Otherwise, we risk being taken over by Manchester United and dropping out of the top 4. So a win is kind of necessary to keep us on level terms with Newcastle United, who are just above us. And they actually play Chelsea. So if Chelsea have any decency at all, if they feel like, maybe winning against Newcastle United, that would be much appreciated. Who's their manager? Graham Potter. But, yes, the midfield is going to be a tricky point for us because Højbjerg and Bentancur, Conte has come out and said that Højbjerg and Bentancur are 2 of the most tired players right now on the pitch. And that was reflected when Højbjerg, after 45 minutes against Nottingham Forest, came off looking absolutely winded. Because he has played, he has started at least every single game in the Premier League. I know that. Maybe bar 1? Yeah, bar 1, I think. He's started every single game. I think he was injured one game.
I think we have to get more comfortable with the Skip Bissouma midfield now.
Yeah, probably.
Starting from now on. I don't think Skip got called up for the World Cup.
He did not.
He did not. Bissouma
is not in the
World Cup
from
either. Mali's not in the World Cup. So during the international break,
Conte will definitely have
Conte
players.
can make them 2 work together, and we can figure them out in a midfield duo.
Conte's going to have a lot of players at his resources for training over the break, including but not limited to Clément Lenglet, who was not called up for France, Davinson Sanchez, whose Colombia did not make it into the World Cup, Tanganga, Lucas Moura was not called up for Brazil, Doherty did not go up, Ireland did not make it, Bissouma, Sessegnon, Emerson Royal, who didn't make it into the squad, Skip, Spence, Kulusevski in Sweden, who are not in the World Cup, Harvey White, of course, Brian Heel most likely will not be called up. Pape Matar Sarr, however, is going to the World Cup with Senegal, and that is it. So, a list of players that Conte has available at his resources that he is able to use if he needs to use them for training or whatever purposes. Up front is going to be also another point of interest for us because Kulusevski, I think he'll play the whole 90. He has to.
Yeah, he doesn't have any World Cup to worry about. He hasn't played recently. This is his chance to get back in the mood of playing.
He has a month and a half to rest as well. So if he does pick up any different haggles along his legs from a resulting injury that he got last time out, I think he has a month and a half to recover. As for Kane and Richarlison, their story is different because Kane, we know, is already dead. Like, he played 58 minutes against Nottingham Forest before being subbed off, which is not Kane at all. Kane would play the whole 90. But he looked absolutely knackered, which is probably a good indication that Harry Kane is out of breath, let's say. So I think we have to get a substantial lead against Leeds so that we can bring some of these key players off, especially Richarlison and Kane and Højbjerg or Bissouma, because those 3 players are quite vital for their squads. So we'll probably see Kane off for Lucas Moura and Richarlison off for Brian Heel, and then Lucas Moura will take up that striker position, Brian Heel will take up the left wing, Kulusevski on the right.
That makes sense. Of course, Son being out is definitely also a huge problem.
Oh, yeah.
We could have definitely used him here.
Son's also going to the World Cup. He's confirmed he's going. It's going to be very, very interesting how Conte seems to manage. But the first and foremost problem is that we have to get a lead, which...
We have to get a lead against Leeds.
So, in the last domestic games, let's see. Since Everton, so Everton was the last game that we kept a clean sheet. Since then, we went 2 goals down to Manchester United. We went 2 goals down to Newcastle United. We went 2 goals down to Bournemouth. We went 2 goals down to Liverpool, and we went 2 goals down to Nottingham Forest. So across the domestic board, we've gone 2 goals down in our last 5 matches. Our last match that we actually took the lead first was against Everton. That's a long time ago.
Well, our second, if we do not score in the first half, or if Leeds do get a goal in the first half, we have to come out with one of those really good second halves.
Yeah.
Like we always do. Like we have been recently against Bournemouth, against Marseille.
The only thing is that performance against Nottingham Forest worries me because a lot of our key players are so tired because they're going to the World Cup, so they're trying to conserve energy. So that's the only thing that worries me. The good thing is that our defense, Lenglet, thankfully, is not going to the World Cup. So he's going to be there for the 90 minutes. Ben Davies is going to the World Cup, so he's going to be careful. But I don't think he's been rotated much more than Harry Kane and Højbjerg and Bentancur. And then Eric Dyer, same thing. I think he's been rotated a little bit more. So, I mean, Eric Dyer, he was so good for like a year, and then the last like 3 games, he's just completely fallen off.
Yeah, Liverpool.
He's been doing pretty poorly.
I feel like he's playing too. He's like pushing up the field more. Like he's a midfielder again. We saw that against Liverpool after he made his mistake. He was pushing up the field, putting crosses in, but sometimes got caught out running back to defense.
Yeah, I mean, he I don't know. Let's see. I guess the biggest thing is his partner cannot be Sanchez. If it's Dyer and Sanchez, then we're finished.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
You have to have someone who stabilizes the defense, like Longley or Davies even. But I think Longley is our best bet to go in the center of that back 3. Eric
Longley
on the right,
has looked really
Davies
good
on
in the
left.
center, so I think he's gonna play.
What's your score prediction?
Score prediction: I think Spurs can get the win, a 2-0 win. I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna say this is gonna be our first clean sheet since Everton.
All right. Well, I think we're gonna go 1 goal down, but then we'll come back and win 2-1. Leeds are on a couple of good performances, but they did lose to Wolves. And I think if we play the right cards out, we can definitely get past them. Because they have a tendency of throwing too much forward a lot of the time. Which means that they're left exposed
They
at the
also
back.
don't have a great squad depth. And they also have a lot of players out.
A lot of players injured, yeah.
So, a lot of their players could be fatigued and tired.
But the
and
problem
Spurs have to take advantage of that.
Their players are tired and out, but the thing is they also have some good players in. Struijk is still in there. Christensen, Adams, Aronson, Somerville, Noto, and Rodrigo. All 4 of those players at the top are all players that have been in ridiculous form recently. Especially Somerville and Rodrigo. Those 2 have been very good in the last 2 or 3 games in the Premier League. So we're going to have to watch out for them. But I think we can get out a win here. But that's it for our preview to Tottenham Hotspur versus Leeds. If you enjoyed, make sure you smash the subscribe button, hit the like button if you enjoyed content, comment down below what your score prediction is, and until next time,
Come on, you Spurs!